to be free to express our views, whatever those may be. All right, that was a sexy new intro that we got.
I like it.
I'm just going to be grabbing. Okay, that's looking good. All right, so just going to grab this. I think this should be it. So give me a sec here, Dr. Fleetwood, and we shall. Oh, that's looking good. Okay. And we are ready to rock and roll, as they say.
Right. Okay.
Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to read a little ditty. I'm going to talk a wee bit about what we do here, and then we're going to get down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited to have Dr. Christie Fleetwood here, ND, RPH, VNMI. You'll tell us a little bit about your experience with all that. Dr. Fleetwood earned her Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy from the Medical College of Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University in 1988. After 10 years as a retail pharmacist, she quit her career, sold everything she owned, including a brand new custom-built home on
acreage. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. That's a big move. Left everyone she knew and moved across the universe to embark on her doctorate degree in naturopathic medicine. Which she finally earned in 2004 from Bastyr University. Immediately after completing licensing exams, Dr. Fleetwood moved back across the universe with her husband and two small children, both born during naturopathic medical school. Those are very special kids, the ones that are born during naturopathic medical school. To the unlicensed state of Virginia, where she got to witness medical miracles on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. When the hubby's West Coast job asked him to return 8 years later, Dr. Fleetwood added professional teaching and writing to her list of accomplishments. To date, she has created courses or curricula for students of naturopathic medicine, continuing education for the naturopathic profession, typically those hard to find relevant pharmacy credits, yeah. Excellent material, I have to say personally, on dealing with drugs and management of drugs, excellent material. And the lay public, including her first published book, Diseases of the Drugs, the Diabetes Connection. So there you have it. Welcome, Dr. Fleetwood.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to have you on here. So you became a naturopathic doctor in 2004. You've been practicing a fair number of years. And what do you think naturopathic medicine has to offer the world that they might not know about?
We are the best kept secret. What naturopathic medicine has to offer the world is vibrant health. Where are you going to find that? Conventional medicine doesn't bring it. That's why I chose to leave conventional medicine. We can teach people how to live differently for a dramatically different outcome. And that's where naturopathic medicine shines. We have been kind of the counterbalance, if you will, to conventional medicine. I have nothing against conventional medicine. They're great for emergency, for trauma, for acute care right now. But when you continue to apply the quick fix, the acute fix to the long-term issue, iatrogenesis, which is diseases of the drugs, is probably the #1 killer in North America. So that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. We often go to the #1 is heart, conditions of the heart that are killers. But upon closer scrutiny, it does look like iatrogenesis.
Right.
Yeah. And did your knowledge and experience as a pharmacist help you in your practice as a naturopathic doctor?
Well, sure. Especially in an unlicensed state, because people sought me out because I was different. They were done with conventional medicine that already been failed or been failed by conventional medicine. So they were looking for somebody who didn't belong in that system. But then who do you trust? Because in an unlicensed state, anybody can call themselves whatever they want. If it's not regulated, then you can call yourself whatever. And so there are a lot of people calling themselves naturopathic doctors in unlicensed Virginia. And listeners, you will note that I said unlicensed, not pre-licensed. And I rather hope with the trend that our medicine has taken that Virginia will stay unlicensed. We can talk more about that.
I'm glad you said that. I've actually been an advocate. I can't say I've been an advocate, but I've been very in favor of non-licensure and non-accreditation because of the shackles that come with it.
The shackles and the fact that if one person in a given state wants to do something outside of the scope, then that one person can find somebody to sponsor a bill, and that changes the educational process for everyone. So the schools have to teach to the highest level of intervention because that's what the students will be tested on in NCLEX. But then we, in my opinion, spend way too much time learning how to use conventional medicine tools and not enough time learning how to think like an altogether different practitioner who uses naturopathic medicine. Therefore, we scare people about going into an unlicensed state. You could lose your license practicing medicine without one.
Yeah.
That's true, you can. But what states that aren't licensing naturopathic doctors, what they mean by medicine is conventional medical tools. So if you're going to practice like a medical doctor in an unlicensed state, then be careful because you're going to lose your license because you're practicing medicine like a conventional medical doctor. But I didn't do that. And I saw medical miracles on the daily, which kind of turned me into a medical miracle junkie because I thought everybody was doing that. And then when we moved out here, I was back to broad scope licensed Washington. I was shocked that so few people were reversing chronic disease. Everybody was okay managing it.
Wow.
I'm not okay managing it. I don't want to manage.
No, and that's a big statement. And what do you attribute? Like, what's the difference between how you practice and bring about medical miracles and then those who are just managing?
Well, I think it's not just me, the practitioner, doing something different. It's the expectation of people seeking me out because I'm not a medical doctor. Right? Those people have a whole different mindset than the people who go, oh, Fleetwood, yeah, you're on my insurance list. Yeah, I'll make an appointment with you.
Right.
Because the person who's desperate in the unlicensed state, they seek out the not medical doctor to hear something else. They have a niggling suspicion in themselves that something else could be done, something else could be tried. Maybe they just need some more information. They need some tips, some tricks, something. They need more than what has been offered to date.
Yes.
They're sick and tired of being sick and tired, even if they don't have an actual chronic disease label yet.
Right.
And so they just want the rest of the story. And I love giving people the rest of the story. I'm like Paul Harvey reincarnated. He's the guy who made that phrase popular. But here in a licensed state, the difference between the patients is, well, one, the profession, again, has done a very good job teaching the public that naturopathic doctors are just like medical doctors. 4 years undergrad pre-med, 4 years medical school. We take your insurance. We can be primary care providers. We can write those prescriptions. We can order those diagnostic images. We can get your blood work done. We can do all the same things as your medical doctor. Okay, then why spend time with me telling me your story if you're going to end up getting the same thing as you could get for 15 minutes or 7? 7 seems to be the average time spent with a medical doctor anymore. If the end result is going to be the same thing or something very similar, but now your insurance won't pay for that $40 bottle of herbal blood pressure lowering agent.
Right.
Why? Why come to me? I don't want to manage you. I don't want it. It's not my responsibility to fix you. It's your responsibility to fix you. And if you don't have the skills or the knowledge, then I can help you with that. And I'll even walk that path with you. But you have to do the work. I got my own work I got to do.
Sure.
So conventional medicine, the doctor reigns supreme. The doctor is the one with the information. The doctor is the one with the wisdom. The doctor is the one with the answers, and the patient needs to just do what the doctor says. But that didn't work for me. I was failed by conventional medicine.
Yeah.
And in my own illness, I decided, this is it? Or, I mean, what did we used to do before drugs came on the scene? Because drugs, pharmacy, like we understand it's only 100 years old, only. So what did we do?
In our history.
Yeah, this is the newest form of medicine on the planet. How on earth did it get to be king? That's another, yeah. That's another conversation.
Talked about that on the show before, but so what's interesting is that your response to the difference between you really helping people and just the doctors back out west where you are, who are just managing the chronic illness. Mm-hmm. You referred to the difference in the patient's outlook. That's great. I love that perspective. And I'd like to hear your perspective as a practitioner, what differs from your approach and the approach of those who are just managing, if I might ask you.
Well, because I got to see people reverse rheumatoid arthritis, reverse multiple sclerosis. I mean, things like type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and cholesterol issues, those are easy. I mean, really, with naturopathic medicine, those are flipping easy. But you do those, just no big thing. But it was a surprise somewhat to me to see, maybe not that much. Okay, the multiple sclerosis, that one blew me away.
Yeah.
But the rheumatoid arthritis, I had seen that happen in my clinic shifts. I had seen other, like Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, I had seen those reverse, not just go into remission, but they don't happen anymore. They don't have the antibodies. They don't have the markers. They don't have that diagnosis any longer. And so because I had been witness to that multiple times in my 7.5 years in unlicensed Virginia, right out of the box, once you experience that, you don't want to let it go. That I really did become a medical miracle junkie. I want to see those miracles. And so I only want to work with the people who know that their bodies can do that, or at least have a strong suspicion, and they want to see how far they can go towards health.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's fun. It's challenging because conventional medicine says it can't happen. And so the client comes in going, this sounds too good to be true, because my doctor tells me, my specialist at the Miracle College tells me that this is it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to be done. And I say, well, in his world or her world, that's true. There is nothing more to be done. You've maxed out on the medications. You're taking this new something that is a clinical trial, and it's not working. So you're here because you're desperate. Let's do the desperate things, like change how you live. Because then the disease has to shift. Right.
Absolutely. If humanity says, oh, no, it's not possible, nobody could run a 4-minute mile, and then somebody does it, you can't say that nobody can run the 4-minute mile because somebody did it.
It's
So, and
done.
it's not like one naturopathic doctor or one homeopathic practitioner are reversing
Right.
incurable conditions. We're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's going on there? What's going on there that I mean, people don't know what's out there. What do you have to say about the fact that these cures, this healing, what we do is just not made available to the regular person out there?
So this would be a conversation that would promote licensure in every state so that naturopaths and naturopathic medicine and naturopathy just roll off people's tongues really easily. But in the states that have licensed, those are the states that continue to move, just a little bit further away from the center, the heart of our nature cure medicine.
Yeah.
And that takes the
Keep
tools
you're
with
almost
them.
off the screen. Keep going. There you go.
Right. So, now the profession is about like this when it comes to naturopathic medicine,
Yeah.
when they ought to be front and center and like right in your face.
Yeah, right on.
So why aren't we? Well, we aren't because so many reasons. Big Pharma is called Big Pharma for a reason. They're big and they own a lot of politicians. We've seen that on film in California.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of money. And so for me to buy an ad on a social media platform so that when a drug ad pops up and you see this lovely, well, first it's sepia tones because everything is sad and dreary. And then ask your doctor if this drug is right for you. And
Sunshine.
right, sunshine and butterflies and unicorns in the background, and everybody's happy and dancing while the background words are going, now this drug may kill you. If that baby sneezes, you're going to be dead in 2 weeks and we won't have anything that we can do to save you. But, so for me to try and buy an ad up against those guys buying ads, it's not going to happen. And with the level of censorship over this past year, I can't buy an ad in non-pharmaceutical ad heavy arenas. I can't say much more than good morning. I'm actually really shocked that my personal social media page got one like when I posted a bucket load of things for sale. I got one like, nothing else. It was so quiet. And I have to wonder if my business page censorship has now moved over to censoring me as just a girl in the neighborhood.
Well, I would assume that yes, that the channels are already blocked. So whatever you post is suspicious. You may be codifying the sale of
That's right.
of your table. It really means that you have healthy recipes to share with the world. I've seen that too, Dr. Fleetwood. I put these awesome posts out. They're really good. They're scientific. They're from medical doctors, and I get crickets or one like or two likes. Some more controversial stuff might generate a little bit more brouhaha, but not much in the end.
I've decided that their algorithms are actually allowing us to talk within our own little circle, so that we feel heard.
Yes.
But it's not going outside where we can reach anyone else.
Right.
And there are some places like where I am in Broadscope, Washington, where my own peers would love to see my license revoked because I don't practice the standards of care, which, just to be clear, the standards of care in medicine are written by medical doctors for medical doctors. I am not a medical doctor. I'm a naturopathic doctor. So I don't abide by their standards of care.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a very valid point. Very valid point.
But that also means that I'm not going to be one that gets asked to speak at the state association. I'm not going to be asked to speak at the school any longer.
Right.
I don't teach anymore because the administration wants me to teach how to manage drugs. And I'm like, wait. Right now, we're already on the wrong footing here, because these are naturopathic students. We reverse disease. Oh, no. How can you even say that? Because I do it all the time. No. That's you. And you can't say that. You can't say that you can cure things. I just
What's
did.
happening there? What is happening right there that the schools don't want a teacher that could teach the students how to heal disease, how to help reverse it?
I have an idea. I have several ideas,
That's what
but
we want to hear.
I don't know what the truth is. I have the understanding that many of our schools are taking pharmaceutical funds. And again, it's not what the school wants to teach, it's what the AANMC says must be taught at the schools. And that starts at a state level when some Yahoo wants to do Botox injections. And I'm just pulling that out of my head because here in broad scope licensed Washington, we have prescriptive scope for all things that are merely legend drugs, not controlled. Well, Botox falls under that category, but that's an exception. We don't have prescriptive scope for that. Well, there are folks who want to do aesthetic medicine.
With Botox.
With Botox, right. And so
Brilliant.
all it takes is for a couple people, or even just one person who knows somebody who can put a bill forward that says, well, naturopathic doctors are trained in injectables.
Yeah.
They would like to have their scope expanded to include this one legend drug. They already have all the rest, but this one got excluded. They'd like to have that one added.
Yeah.
And now we have to teach people how to do Botox injections.
Right. Because we want to create symptoms of myasthenia gravis so that we could then work to reverse that, because it's too easy if it's just like the other things you were talking about. Okay, so yes, the schools are taking big pharma dollars, and then you were saying you don't know, but you have an idea, and this is what we're here for. We'd like to hear your ideas. Okay, so we got big pharma dollars coming in, and I'm missing a couple of steps.
Right.
Then what?
So we're also, to save money, we want people who will work for not much. And so you're going to be really hard pressed to get a high caliber, high visibility naturopathic physician who's been in practice for 20 years quite successfully, and bringing in $300 to $500 an hour or more to go work at the school for $40.
Right.
It's really difficult, but you can get a brand new graduate who has not been outside of the Bastyr bubble, as we call it, who has not left the nest, so to speak. They have not seen the medical miracles, so they doubt. Because let's face it, we have a lot more conventional medicine messages coming in than naturopathic medicine messages. So they default in their fear to, well, this is what UpToDate says. I'm just going to write the damn prescription. And so that's one thing. We have inexperienced teachers teaching because of a cost factor, perhaps, because of an availability factor, perhaps. We also have, we market to the wrong crowd, I think. There's not consistency in the caliber of students that we bring in. So if you've got somebody whose MCAT score was not good enough to get into the University of Washington School of Medicine program, but Bastyr may or may not require an MCAT score, and you're like, well, I'll just be a naturopathic doctor. I'll still get to call myself a doctor. And since I'm not going to leave the state of Washington, it's no big deal. Okay, so then you get students that don't want to be naturopaths. They want to be medical doctors, and they're going to be really angry by year 3 when they realize that, yes, they are learning how to use those same tools, but they're not learning them really well. And so they're angry. And I think Britt Hermes is our biggest example of that. If the schools cannot look at Britt, I'm naming names.
She shall not be named. Like, the Voldemort of naturopathic medicine.
But really, if you just look at her story, and she's like, well, I went to naturopathic medical school, and then I was a resident, and it wasn't until I was working later. So after 4 years of naturopathic medical school and at least a year of naturopathic residency, she didn't know that she was something not a medical doctor. If the schools can't hear that, if the AANMC can't hear that and go, oh, we got a problem, then I don't think any other kind of conversation will jar them. It seems to me that she is the best representation of naturopathic medicine right now. A confused woman who left because she thought she was getting something that she didn't get. And many, many, many of our students are graduating in that same kind of confused state. And they don't say anything on their exit interview because they want to make damn sure that after spending that much money and that much time and that much stress and blood, sweat, and tears, they get that piece of paper.
They don't want to jeopardize it by being honest about their experience.
Right.
So that sounds a lot like the very typical follow the money. The money is often behind reasons that things become corrupted. I also think to say that, there's a lot of people who go in, they want naturopathic medicine education, they get angry because they're not getting it on that end very well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the bottom line, in my estimation, is not even the financing that may be coming from sources not so savory. But, and this next thought actually came from a former provost who said to me, because I was talking about the mission statement.
A former what, sorry?
The former provost of one of our schools.
What's a provost?
They're like the head honcho that's not the dean and not the president, but that other third powerful being. I think the provost is actually the second most powerful person at an institute of higher education.
Oh, okay. Funny. I had not ever heard of that in association with, like, well, for instance, CCNM. I don't think they have a provost, but I could be wrong. Anyway, okay, go on. So
I don't know.
The provost, yeah.
So yeah, gosh, I'm wondering how much trouble I'm going to get in now. I mean, I'm already in trouble. Anybody who doesn't like me and watching this is going to see if they can get me in trouble somehow. Well, did you hear what she said about the school? She said that while she was still teaching.
Okay, there you go. So you got nothing to.
I got nothing to lose. So an ex-provost of one of our teaching facilities, because I've worked at 3 of them. Figure out who I'm talking about. When I was asking about the mission and vision statements of that particular school, and that's what needed to be followed. That's what the registrar needed to be thinking. That's what the welcome people needed to be thinking. If it's not mission specific, then you're doing something wrong. If you're not on the mission, then you have veered off the mission. And so things have to be shifted back. And he said, well, Christie, that's the problem, because you guys still don't know who you want to be when you grow up. Oh.
It's a
I thought this was a naturopathic medical school. And he's like, that's true. And yet you've got teachers who want to teach the far end of the spectrum. the spectrum of
Yeah.
high level intervention. You've got teachers who want to stay true to what me, would call the heart of naturopathic medicine, which is nature cure. And then you've got this big span in the middle. So until the profession can decide who they are, we can't agree on the mission, because even the mission statement can be interpreted very differently, like the vis, medicatrix naturae, the healing power of nature.
Oh.
I would say that the vis is something within, and we want to encourage that spark, that life, that vibrant, animating force. We want to bring that to the forefront. But other people would interpret the healing power of nature as, yes, herbs. Herbs are just as powerful as pharmaceuticals.
Right.
The healing power of nature is botanical medicine.
Right. Anybody, that is a problem. I could see the interpretation, but anybody who I would say a vast majority, I don't want to say everybody, but a vast majority of people who practice and understand what the vis is, it remains a mystery, but will agree with each other that it's, herbal medicine can do wondrous things. Mm-hmm. But that's not the definition
that's not the vis.
That's not the vis. That's not the vis. So we could agree with that. That makes me think of like this not taking a position. This not taking a position of our organizations is a big mistake, because it creates confusion. There's no direction, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even when certain organizations don't take positions about certain controversial, very politically charged topics like vaccination, mm-hmm. It's a problem, because then if the administrative, the mind or the organization leaders are not taking the position, then it's just going to be chaos amongst its participants, its constituents.
Bingo. And that's what we have.
Yes.
We have a divided profession that some people don't want to acknowledge, but it's divided, and it's divided pretty radically, and people are standing on their different sides.
Yes.
And one of my big problems, and one of the reasons that I was so happy to be here, is because tolerance. Everyone's talking about tolerance, and yet those of us in the nature cure camp recognize that there is a spectrum, and we talk about that spectrum, and there's a time and a place for every point on that spectrum. And from that perspective, I see us as being highly tolerant, and yet it doesn't go in both directions. I'm the one getting fussed at because I didn't, and really bad language and really hurtful kinds of insulting, disparaging remarks, because I choose to be down here working with nature and working with the vis in another person, teaching them how to throw off their encumbrances, their chronic diseases. I'm not managing them, and they are forever grateful.
Right.
And yet I'm the witch. I'm the bad guy. Why can't we agree to practice differently and go about our business?
It goes hand in hand. It's the person who is attracted strictly to the conventional approach, that is managing drugs, managing disease, not curing, not going to the root, mm-hmm. is not evolved in their awareness. So being unevolved, they are prone to disparaging comments and prone to unhealthy forms of relationship with those who are working outside of the box. It's sort of like, you're a bit thuggish in your medicine, so you're a bit thuggish in your relationships with others who are not like you.
Right. I definitely see that in our profession.
When you see like a wise old woman or wise old man whose time is wizard, they are live and let live.
Yeah.
That wisdom of nature says live and let live. But the controlling nature of that medicine that the doctor is in control, then
Yeah,
they regard those who are not controlling like them as being in the wrong or something.
agreed.
Yeah.
So I'm of the opinion that we should split.
Oh,
What are we going to call one another, though? Yeah, put me
let's
on
worry
record.
about that later. Let's just take the first step. Let's just worry
I
about.
think we should split because, so just before we got on, remember I said, you asked if there were any taboo subjects, and I said none that I can think of. If I don't want to answer, I'm not going to answer.
Yep.
But I don't want to just bitch about our schools, because if we're not going to come up with some solutions, then I
Yep.
don't want to just badmouth them. So I've already badmouthed the profession because I don't like the way that it's going. It's sliding right on out of what has historically been
A little further.
the transformation, the transformative
Yes.
wisdom
Yes.
that we can convey to our patients and clients. So one of the solutions that I see is, let's just own up. Let's, here, the line's been drawn. Let's manage with whatever means and be as accepted by our conventional peers as possible. You know, let's play nice, and then maybe we can get the insurance reimbursement changed. Really? No, I don't think so. Well, let's play nice, and then maybe we can get into the hospitals. Let's play nice, and then we can be integrative. Every integrative thing that I've ever seen has the medical doctor going, hey, you've got some tools that I have an interest in. And the naturopathic doctor going, that's right, I do. How can I help you? Well, now we're no longer integrative. In order to integrate, the entities have to be separate and different. Then you can integrate.
Right. Right.
But this is just, I don't know what you call that, sublimation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homogenization.
Ugh. No.
Okay, so I got tingles when you said we need to split. So by the way, I don't think you badmouth the schools. Calling a spade is not badmouthing. Badmouthing is in the spirit of desiring to hurt, to wound, to bring something down. But the schools have a problem. And are you still there, Dr. Fleetwood?
I'm here.
We
It looks
lost
like,
your video for a sec.
yep, I see that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I just wanted to say, I don't really think you're bad mouthing. I think you are speaking accurately. Let's put it that way. And you're talking about a negative situation. So it's a little different. So now let's talk about splitting, because I think that that's inevitable. It's almost like we're just going in separate directions, and they're so separate that ne'er the two shall meet, right? And there's no synergy there. So what do you see? What are some thoughts that you have about how that might go about, or whatever?
So first, let me get my camera straight. I guess I've just lost my camera.
No, you're good.
So,
You're good.
yeah, but I don't like that camera. It's a bad angle. So
Fine. Just tilt your screen away from you a teeny bit. Okay, there you go. You're fine. You're
okay.
good.
All right. So
Very flattering. Very flattering.
thanks. Uh-huh. Okay, now I forgot the question. Got all flummoxed with the whole camera disappearing on me like that.
Sure. Question. Go ahead.
No, what was your question? I'm supposed to be answering.
My question was, so let's say we split.
Yes.
What do you envision? What might we need to do?
Oh, okay. I love this because I have all kinds of ideas. I think the hardest part is going to be deciding who takes which nomenclature, but we even have that already, because we have some naturopaths who use the letters ND for naturopathic doctor.
Yeah.
And then we have other naturopaths who use the letters NMD, which
Yeah.
I thought meant naturopathic medicine doctor, but I was corrected. It's naturopathic medical doctor.
Right.
Oh, hey, we don't even have to worry about what we're going to call each other. We already have it.
Yes.
Then next thing, well, then what do we do if we do have naturopathic medical doctors and we have naturopathic doctors? Well, we need schools for the people who want to learn how to be one or the other.
Yes.
And then the schools can actually attract the students who want to learn how to be that kind of
100%.
naturopath. I know.
Now talk to me about money, because some of these schools, I mean, they're exorbitantly priced. They're way too expensive. Students are graduating 200 to 300 plus $1,000 in debt. And that debt weighs heavily enough that that also influences them to practice that conventional way.
Correct. Out of fear that they're never going to pay off their student loans.
That's right.
And but quite frankly, when I worked for under a 2-year contract in a group setting, which is what I was told I would have to do, taking insurance, working as a primary care provider, I have not worked so hard for so little with so many letters after my name ever. Like the last time I made that little bit of money was when I was parking cars in pharmacy school. I was a valet parker.
You should have put that in the little bio that you had on my website.
Yeah, at a for men only club in Richmond. Yeah, you could only, if you were a woman, you could only get in there if you were on the arm of a very wealthy man. Yeah, but I made a lot of money, so whatever, and I got to drive Jaguars. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so money's a bit of a problem. Maybe we need like some very wealthy, sponsors of the idea who can supplement the schools.
Well, if that were the case, I think the schools wouldn't be taking money elsewhere. If we had wealthy people who were helped, who had their diseases reversed by naturopathic medicine, then they would be far more willing to leave their money at the end of their lives. They'd be more willing to sponsor us, if you would. But if we're just going to manage like everybody else, then why would they leave money?
Right.
Because we managed in a gentler, kinder way.
Yes.
I wouldn't. Look, I still have, if I have a really wealthy patient who's like, well, Dr. Fleetwood, I like you a lot, and I understand you want to start a school. And, if I didn't have diabetes anymore, then I'd help you out. But I've been working with you for a couple of years and still have diabetes. I like you, but I don't really know why would they leave money? Why would they leave endowments? Why would they sponsor us if we're not doing anything different from the rest?
We're past that already. We've split from the people that are just doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
I have answers, dude.
Okay, let me hear them. I'm excited.
So now the next hurdle is going to be who gets which schools? Who takes over Bastyr? Who takes over National? Both Nationals, National University of Naturopathic Medicine or Natural Medicine at this point.
Easy. That's an easy answer.
Really?
They do. There's no way on God's green earth that the breaker outers of the conventional mold are going to get first choice of us, or even third choice. I think we can assume all the infrastructure. This is my take right now. If you want to negotiate differently, I'm open to that. All the infrastructure that's in place is going to belong to the conventionally minded, because it's already taken.
I like that. Okay, good. Okay, so then the next thing is we just need to start a school.
Yeah.
Now, that's a little tricky.
One school, like John Bastyr, one school.
Just one. I've already pitched this idea to a number of people, and they tell me it's too expensive because of all of the rigmarole for accreditation. And I'm, I get it. We do want to be a real school. I get that. I have disparaged the undies, the unlicensable naturopaths for not having an accredited course of education. So,
right, because there's a balance there. There's a balance.
but the balance is not balanced because we only have one accrediting body here in the US. And this is not my idea, but I'm going to voice an idea that I've heard from someone who's been in practice for about 30 years. And that individual said, we need to sue all the schools and the AANMC for not providing a naturopathic medical education. So the AANMC is the accrediting body for the whole group. We need a different accrediting body.
Yeah, for sure. With a different lens on what is to be accredited.
Yes.
Is somebody who's helping in the way a naturopathic doctor does.
So that might be tricksy again, because this is not a grand environment for people who want to reverse chronic disease. If we were to, and I don't want to leave this topic, but I just want to throw out that if we were to focus on what is actually killing people year after year after year, it's chronic lifestyle-driven disease. It is not infectious disease. If you gather up all the bugs and the germs and the fungal things and the viral entities and you push them all into one pot and you go, see, look at all the people dying from not wild polio and from tuberculosis, right? From pneumonia, from you pile them all up, put them all in a ball. Yeah. You still only have 20 to 30% of all mortality, 20 to 30%. But that's what we're focused in on. Not even the 20 to 30%. We're focused in on like 2 or 3% right now. And who are the people most at risk of a negative outcome if they have COVID or any of the other infectious diseases?
It's the chronic.
Yes, the people with chronic disease. So why aren't we focused on the 70 or 80% of what's killing us?
Okay, so that's the intelligence and the wisdom of nature that speaks in our new school. But now here's an idea that I want to throw out there. Why get accredited at all? You see, the number one marketing tool, in my awareness, in my opinion, is word of mouth.
Yes.
If you're doing miracles, you're going to get so-and-so's uncle, aunt, and all their cousins and their best friends and their whole family, more than you can imagine. So we don't need to be accredited in the way that the public now, based on the conventional form of accreditation, expects.
True. Dude, okay. So then if we don't actually have to get accredited, we could start our school, because everybody's doing virtual things right now.
Yes.
So our school, for all the things that don't require hands-on, we within our little, I'm going to use the term vitalistic/holistic naturopathic medical group, we have some of the most brilliant people who could teach counseling. I'm pointing at you. That's your job. Okay. But then the question is, do you have the bandwidth to teach people? Oh, never mind. I already know that answer because I'm in your course. Yes, you do. And you've already got it set up. There are other people within our profession who are just brilliant with botanical medicine, with homeopathy. You need to have a botanical medicine lab. So that would need to be done, I think, in person. Oh, but Fleetwood, that costs money and there's COVID. And yeah, well, vitalists don't really care. This vitalist got really sick this time last year, got really sick in March of 2020. What could that have been? Might have been the Spanish flu of 1918, but I'll just let your imagination go wild. I survived. I don't have any chronic disease. Was it gnarly? Yeah. Was I in bed for a while? Yeah. Did I have a post sequelae? Yeah, I had that too. But I had conversations with vitalists who practice naturopathic medicine and brought the vis up in me. And I am pretty stinking vibrantly healthy and well these days.
Amen. Good for you.
In
Awesome.
all the levels. So,
Yeah.
but most of our classes could be taught virtually, which means, yeah, we still need to pay our instructors, but we don't have to pay them to travel. And when we do travel, let's find some place in nature. Let's make some tinctures. Let's make some ointments. Let's make some stuff. And let's do botanical medicine for a day, like an intensive. And then let's do physical medicine for a day as an intensive.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do some field walk-in so we know what the plants look like in their natural habitats, rather than just, what do I do with this bottle of tincture?
A real naturopathic school.
Real. We'd get up and do yoga together or go for a hike and a plant walk.
The kind of school that's like a dream for those thirsty to learn the real medicine.
Can we do it? Will you do this with me? We probably need a couple other people.
I've been wanting to teach. I've been thinking of splitting for a long time and wanting to create another school. So yeah, I could definitely get on board with this. I'd be happy.
And I was just talking to someone that you interviewed recently, and we were in agreement that we need to have an in-person conference, because we need to see each other. We need to hug each other. We need to touch each other. We need to sit close and smoke a cigar together or drink a whiskey together. Yes. Is that naturopathic? Well, in the right setting, it can be. We need that humanity, that camaraderie.
And I think the school would benefit from that too, to be in person.
Absolutely. Well, yes. Now, I will tell you honestly, and this may sound egotistical, but just hang with me for a moment. Because we have multiple schools right now, none of them want me to teach for them, none. But honestly, who best can they actually find someone with my credentials who could teach in the way that I was teaching? They're going to be hard pressed to find anybody who can teach farm as well as I can teach farm.
Right.
Now, I say that through my lens, right? Because I think I know my stuff, and I think I'm a pretty engaging instructor. And I did learn, maybe too late, not to let the students push me around. So in my mind, I'm thinking we get the best person for that topic to teach all of the schools, and then the different schools share the expenses. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, AANMC? You probably should do that.
Yeah. By the way, you said you learned not to let the students push you around. In this school, I must insist that there be no safe spaces.
Yes! If you feel triggered, then you need to be in Dr. Moshe's class next.
Yeah. Just deal with it. Learn that it's okay to be triggered. It's totally cool, but not to expect the whole world to treat you with kid gloves because you've got an issue.
Because when we start doing that, when we start walking on eggshells so that we don't offend anyone, then we inadvertently offend everyone.
Yeah. And ourselves. We lose connection with ourselves, and every word is monitored in this prescription of what is, kosher to speak to everybody. It's a big problem.
What happened to academic debate? What happened to common sense and courtesy? Yeah. What happened to, if you have a problem with someone, go and talk to that person first before you escalate it?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, simple ethics.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. So I that's good. So
So we're going to start a school. Oh, so cool. I can't wait to tell my family.
Man, that is cool. That is really cool. Yeah, and the doctors that will be graduating will be so fully transformed and informed about how to practice. They're going to be rocking, home runs with their patients.
Right.
And the reputation of the establishment they came from, that's how it grows. That's how you do it.
And then, because our clinic is going to become the hub of miracles,
Yes.
we're going to have philanthropists who adore health.
Yes.
We're going to have them funding us.
Yes. I like
it a lot.
And so
thank you for this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're talking about positive movement of energy rather than just,
Yes, this is my positive movement of energy.
Let me put on the intro video again because
I love that.
Because I would like to see, for some reason, as the naturopathic doctor schools go like this, like what you did, you went off the page.
Right.
There's a certain corruption that has come. There's a loss of teaching. The elders have been fired, and the tuition kept going up and up and up.
I know.
Goes hand in hand with the corruption of the colleges. There's no way that they should be jacking up the price every single year. I'm exaggerating, but it seems that way. Thousands of dollars, like it's become unaffordable, and people are going into so much debt. And anyway, we talked about that. So I would like to, when we envision this thing, we envision it with a full-hearted alignment with the divine forces of nature that work through the vis to assist us in helping humanity by providing with the best, healthiest school, which includes an affordable school that students could afford and not be in crazy debt after.
Right. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Good.
Let it be so. Yes.
All right. So feel free to throw out any more ideas about this. I have a question I do want to ask you. I'm curious. So you practice really effective naturopathic medicine. You're having great results. Who were your teachers that helped you to learn these things?
Who were my teachers?
Yeah.
I had some fantastic teachers. I had the likes of Bill Mitchell and Mary Bove and Jillian Stansberry and Deborah Francis and Joe Pizzorno and Patrick Donovan and Herb. What was Herb's last name?
He doesn't have a last name with a name like Herb. He's got it all in a name like that.
Right. I had Lucy Waters and Karen Allen and Marianne Ivons teaching me homeopathy, and Krista Heron and I can see her, Nancy. I had Nancy. Then I had the two Nancys, Nancy Sullivan and the other Nancy, teaching me craniosacral.
Good for you. You just named up a whole bunch of really
great names. Yeah. Right. And I
some
had
of the famous naturopaths too of times of yore.
True. I had this really cranky guy on shift. Like nobody wanted to work with him. He worked nights and weekends, and I had kids. And so my husband could take care of the kids nights and weekends. So I worked with this cranky dude a lot. He was Dr. Little. I don't remember his first name, but he's who I learned how to reverse autoimmune issues. I learned that from cranky Dr. Little. I had Mark Groven and the Dougs, Doug Lewis and Doug White and Dean Neary for everything Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Did you learn from Dr. Sensenig, Jim Sensenig?
I did not. I was introduced to Dr. Sensenig 2015, 2016, maybe.
Okay.
It was after I had been in a class with Eli Camp. I sat in on her business class.
Right.
And we're about the same age, and we've been out for about the same amount of time, and we have some other common interests. So I invited her over for dinner, and she's like, I have to introduce you to someone. So that's about the time that the vital conversation was just getting started. That's when, and I remember sending him a very tremulous email and hitting the send button going, I don't know what's going to happen with that. And then he called me and we had the longest conversation, and it was so bizarre to have a conversation like that went so deep with somebody I had never met. And
cool.
Yeah,
I love
so
stories like that.
That's how I met Jim.
You know, I love hearing stories of people's interaction with the other doctors and how they learned. And I got some beautiful stories like that from Andre Sane when he was on, and hang on a sec, Dr. Tim Dooley had some great stories about his times. Dr. Charlie Cropley had some great stories. Anyway, this is just, I find this inspiring.
Yes. Well, and I had 2 or 3 others that are really big.
Oh yes.
3 other instructors. I had Pamela Snyder, Louise Edwards, and Jared Zeff teaching me naturopathic philosophy.
Oh yeah.
And wow. Oh, and Kathy Rogers.
That's amazing that you had access to these teachers. Did you have them all in the institution where you learned, or did you seek them out?
So all of those that I listed are people that actually came onto the campus and taught at that point in education. Yeah. Now, some of them were guest lecturers. Mary Bove was a guest lecturer. Deborah Francis was a guest lecturer. Sure. And then I sought out a preceptorship with her where I stayed for maybe 2.5 days, and she sent me home. I'm good with her now. Jared, I have kind of just clung on to him like a burr. And he actually let me come shadow him for 1 day each month last summer. Oh, so I would ride my motorcycle down to Vancouver, Washington, and hang out with him and his staff for an entire day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pick up
so, and I, tips. Oh yeah, a few. And I still, if I have something big going down, I will reach out to him. Like I had this fantastic idea, this really brilliant idea. I've got this asthmatic gal, or she thinks she's asthmatic. She's afraid of having asthma, so she's having breathing issues. But she's really pretty sure that it's her dog. And so I'm like, well, I've got a Carol machine. Why don't you send me some dander and fur and some blood, and I'll just put it through the machine. Just need to figure out the right point. So sure enough, I have everything, and I'm like, Dr. Zeff, got this brilliant idea, but I don't know which lung point to use. We use stomach 26 to determine the digestive power for foods that we eat. Which lung point do I pick? And he's like, I don't know. I'm going to look in an old book and I'll get back to you. And I'm like, you're a brilliant man who understands the Carol machine and acupuncture. What's the point? Give me the point. And he's like, yeah, I was checking on the settings for the machine. I'm like, oh yeah. Settings. Right. Because the settings might need to be different.
Normally it's a diagnostic for what is going to throw the system off, like the intolerance. But you were looking to use it therapeutically to transmute, or
no. But if we know which point is the point to check for digestion, then it's not a big leap for my brain to go, well, if we have a digestion point, then we must also have a breathing point.
Right.
And Dr. Zeff was like, Yeah, but we'll need to change the settings. I'm looking for the settings.
Ah,
Oh, that never occurred to me. Never occurred to me. But then telling my patient this, she happens to be an engineer, and I'm like, no, I never considered settings. Like, why would those be important, engineer?
what point did you end up choosing?
I'm still waiting. I'm waiting because today's Thursday. I should know tomorrow. I'm hopeful that I'll know tomorrow because I don't know today.
I would actually think any point could work. There are certain concentrated points that will work better because you could take a substance and just do applied kinesiology to test a person's auric field to that without even putting it in a certain point. You just find a concentrated point, which is more perhaps a closer channel to the vital force's response to that substance.
So I can envision how I might be able to do that with her in person. I can envision that because I'm trained in craniosacral. So I think I could make that work. But if I'm doing it, I at this point I want Dr. Z to tell me the point and to tell me the settings.
Sure. No problem. That's cool. I hear you. So, all right, cool. So we touched on a lot of awesome things tonight. I would like to, and this doesn't necessarily have to be delineated within exactly a certain amount of time, but I'd like to hear from you words of wisdom, what you would like to share, what you've seen to really work, what you love about whatever. Just go. And I'd like to give you that opportunity to share what you have yet to share or would like to share.
About what I love about naturopathic medicine?
And about naturopathic medicine, what you have found to be effective.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's easy. I'm going to use a line from Alan Goldhammer, who runs True North, the medically supervised fasting. Okay. He says, when you're working with really sick people, then you got to pull out the big guns. There's no goofing off with nutraceuticals at this point, folks. The big guns is what you need. That means real food, clean water, rest, movement. These are the big things. That comes from Alan Goldhammer. But I used to say when people asked me what I did because they couldn't pronounce naturopathic, they're like, you've got these letters after your name. I'm not really sure. It's like naturopathic doctor. Oh, so you're a homeopath? No, naturopathic. Naturopathic doctor.
Right.
Okay, you're a neuropathic doctor. No. Nature. Oh, pathic. Nature. Oh, okay. You're a natural path. No. But what I would tell them, because they'd say, well, all right, now that I get what you are, what does that mean? What do you do? And I would say this to anybody, including the Medical Society of Virginia. I teach people how to eat real food, drink clean water. Oh, well, I don't see any reason why they should be licensed. For one, they're not practicing medicine, or why we couldn't bring back the old naturopathic license, because that's what it said, that naturopathic doctors teach people how to eat real food, drink clean water, move their bodies. You can use sunshine and nutrition and electricity and magnets and hands-on therapy. And you know what? I was one of a group of young, dumb naturopathic doctors having just graduated, and we said, no, we're so good at what we do that we actually need to be able to have prescriptive scope so that we can take people off their medications. And the Medical Society said, Now you're practicing medicine. We will fight you every bit of the way. I was part of that group. Now I can look back and go, oh, they gave it to us on a platter. And we said, no, that's not enough. Thanks.
Right. I mean, I can understand the desire to have the legal power to remove people from their drugs. But I mean, that's rubbing up with it's awakening the beast, right? That's
correct.
Yeah.
And I took people off their medications with no problem by scripting them. Okay, Ms. Jones, look at how good you've done. Look at your homework, and you've done this and that and the other thing. And now look at your numbers. Look at your blood pressure. You're over medicated. Look at your blood glucose. You're over medicated. So you're going to take your blood glucose logs and your blood pressure logs to your prescribing physician, and you're going to say to him, hey, I'm working with this naturopathic doctor down the street, and she's got me doing all kinds of different lifestyle things. I'm exercising, I'm eating differently, and she thinks I'm over medicated. She also happens to be a pharmacist. So she wanted me to bring in these logs. Look at my blood pressure. Look, it's so low now that when I go from seated to standing, I get a little bit dizzy. I think I'm over medicated too. She said, you might want to consider breaking this combination pill into two separate things and eliminating the hydrochlorothiazide, the HCTZ bit.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that was like one of the worst things that I could do to a patient, put them in the middle between two opposing things, wanting them to integrate somehow. But I had so many people coming back to me going, Dr. Fleetwood, I did what you said, and he did what you said he would. I'm off the medicine.
Great.
And they were so empowered. And they would tell me that. You gave me the words. I didn't know that I could talk to a medical doctor like that.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, the medical doctor is a hired professional. If you don't like the job, then you can fire him.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. They feel beholden to their medical doctor. Like they have to
right.
listen to everything they say.
Right. So that level of empowerment has empowered me to continue empowering them. And I don't care to have prescriptive scope. I don't need it. I've proven that to myself.
And I could see how valuable you personally are to teach that, because not everybody has that language, has that confidence and the knowledge. First of all, the knowledge of the pharmaceuticals, and then how to bring that to the medical doctor without the prescriptive license, which I agree has certainly backfired in many ways, having that. Yeah. It's created problems. So I love it. Real food, clean water, rest. That's a good one. And movement.
Movement.
Fabulous.
Move your body and make it fun so you actually do it.
Yeah, those are the big guns. Those are the big guns.
Those are the big guns. Those are the determinants of health. If we don't address the determinants of health, how do you expect your patient to get any better? You can't. The best you can expect when you don't monitor the determinants is to manage.
Right.
Well, that put me on an unhappy note. So I'm going to go back to the determinants of health. Determinants of health.
and perhaps with that we can rest on this it was very positive, very informative. We looked at things face on that we had to look at. We proposed some really exciting potential for the future. I like that. Let's allow this seed to grow. And I invite anyone who has listened to this to send us feedback, send us your ideas. It could be as simple as an email to myself or Dr. Fleetwood. I'm in. That's a school I would like to go to. I would like to teach that. Or I would like to go, if you're going on a road trip, to just go with you, and I can help you spot out Plantago.
Everywhere.
Like cool. Thanks, Dr. Fleetwood. Thank you. It's a pleasure. A lot of fun.
This has been fun. Thank you. We're going to start a school.
We're
We're going to start a school.
Yeah. And all the best with your big the movements of lots of your
Yes.
chess pieces on the board.
Going back to an unlicensed state.
Yes.
Thank you.
Freedom.
Freedom. Yes, George Michael is in my playlist.
All right, Dr. Fleetwood. Thank you so much for being a part of this and